Good evening. It's a pleasure to have your company. The news in detail with me, Gloria Mutisi. Starting us off tonight, President Paul Kagame arrived in Abu Dhabi on Thursday to attend the 2021 World Policy Conference. The three-day conference will begin on Friday, October 1st and end on Wednesday. The 13th World Policy Conference is a high-level conference on governance that addresses the real challenges facing the world in the 21st century. It brings together top political, economic, research and media leaders. The last meeting was held in April 2019 and was held in Marrakech, Morocco, with the participation of President Paul Kagame. The meeting is the brainchild of WPC, which was set up in 2008 with a view of contributing to the building of an open, prosperous, and a just world for all, ensuring that no one is oppressed based on their culture and other beliefs that are in everyone's right. Now, after the government passed the law exempting taxes on electric vehicles manufactured or imported into the country, people say this will help in lowering their prices as well as importers, whereas importers and sellers of cars request that charging stations be increased as well. Innocent Mugabo.
Electric vehicles aren't many yet in Rwanda due to the scarcity of charging stations. Some function on solar energy and petrol or diesel for a few minutes and immediately switches to using electricity, as narrated by Nahiman Alexandri, one of the owners. It automatically charges with the help of its battery, and it can last for 8 hours in case there is no sun. That is to say, it uses solar in times of the sun, as it also stores its battery for periods when there is no sun. When they reduce the tax, I believe there will also be many, since it's the only challenge available. Since towards the end of September this year, the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning has confirmed that vehicles imported or manufactured in Rwanda are only electric and hybrid cars and are the only ones allowed to be exempted from customs duties. Traders who import and sell cars say that the need for such vehicles is going to increase due to the lower prices, only that it should go hand in hand with increasing the number of charging stations. Our company Tom Transfers also operates abroad. Like in Europe, we use electric cars as well as in Canada. So since they have exempted us from the customs duties, then the demand is likely to also increase. Now the problem will be where to charge them. So the government should now plan on how to put up charging stations. In general, all imported vehicles are subject to custom duties that vary depending on the time of manufacture, type, and engine power and factory price. In addition to buses or lorries exempted from the 15% tax, others pay 18% value-added tax, a 25% car value tax, and not more than 15% depending on the type of engine. A total of 58%, which is also the tax exempted from electric vehicles. People say that the exemption of this tax from electric vehicles will increase the number of those that opt for economy vehicles. The reason to why I don't buy a car is that most of them are expensive. So I think tax exemption is one way to pave way for development. But hope through doing this, they will also consider all categories of people. Rwanda aims to reduce emissions by 38% by 2030. The Minister of Environment, Dr. Maria Jeanne d'Arc, says that more is being done to keep Rwanda from being the base of air pollution.
A lot needs to be done. Those with cars are required to properly service them, and old and unserviceable ones won't be allowed on the road. Then also put effort in fighting air pollution to tackle climate change.
Rwanda continues its program to reduce emissions, including encouraging people to use non-combustible fuels and conduct regular technical motor vehicle inspections to avoid air pollution due to emissions. In line with this program still, motorcycles have also been launched for use and others modified from using fuel to electricity. Innocent Mugabo, RTV News.
Many thanks, Innocent, for that report. Some of the people that have lost loved ones due to medical negligence and those that have become permanently disabled due to the negligence are asking for justice and for measures to be put in place for such mistakes to never happen again. It's just a day after Aimee Sylvain, Uwirinjimana, buried their baby after being told for the whole 9 months of pregnancy that the baby was fine. His wife was admitted to hospital last Friday for delivery. 24 hours later, in labor, doctors told her the baby had died.
The uterus ruptured. When my wife was due, she didn't give birth then. The baby was big. She was over 4 kilos. So because she wasn't assisted when she was due, the uterus ruptured. The baby suffocated from the inside due to drowning in the blood on the inside and died. Up to now, I still haven't quite accepted what happened.
Silva says he wants justice due to the medical negligence that led to their child's death, and he's also questioning the way the surgery was done.
Since we found out that my wife was pregnant, to the day she went to the hospital to give birth, she had never had any complications. Every time she would go to the hospital for checkups and scans, they would show the baby was fine and active. So I'm seeking justice and to know the status of my wife, to know the possible complications that could arise from this.
Dr. Albert Nzayisenga from the Rwanda Medical and Dental Council explains the avenues victims of medical negligence can use to seek for justice and for the person responsible to be punished.
There is a team designated to go get this information and come to a decision, and then present it to another committee that will further investigate, who then will send it to the Rwanda Biomedical and Dental Association, whose responsibility is to hear the sides of both the victim of the medical negligence and the doctor responsible. So, with all this protocol, we are working on reducing the cases of medical errors. In collaboration with the Rwanda Medical and Dental Council and Rwanda Investigation Bureau, 40 doctors have been trained in investigating medical mistakes resulting into the patient's deaths and other side effects, including permanent disability. Some of these say they are ready to defend the rights of patients in the event that these issues arise.
The main objectives for the workshops were on these medical malpractice investigation techniques were to equip medical professionals that have been selected as an investigation team selected by the Rwanda Medical and Dental Council, such that we have a standby team whenever a case arises and whenever a case alleging a malpractice, medical malpractice, or any other error or any other fault arising in health facilities, that are investigated timely and in a clear and coordinated fashion. So, like I said, this is a team that has been selected by the Rwanda Medical and Dental Council with the main objectives of equipping them with the skills, the investigation skills, interview skills, such that whenever this case arises, they are investigated fully, and then at the end, a comprehensive report is produced.
In a patient, we always depend on understanding how errors happen, and we shall also mobilize and make sure that the working environment also under which these things happen is made in such a way that people, both workers and patients, will work in a safe environment.
The Rwanda Medical and Dental Association points out that more medical errors are most common in the maternity services because of the 177 cases of medical negligence being currently followed. 82% of that are in relation to maternity services, accounting for 44%. Pediatric cases account for 16%. Medical errors from anesthesia account for 3%, and other diseases account for 5%. The Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies, Mukabalisa Donatil, accompanied by the Vice Speakers, received the Ambassador of the Republic of Korea to Rwanda, Chai Jin-won, to discuss further development of relations between both countries. The Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies commended the ambassador for the good relations between the two countries, saying that the Korea International Cooperation Agency project is one of the ways through which the good relations have flourished, noting that the relationship between Korea and Rwanda are most significant in education, agriculture, business, technology, and more. Speaker Donatil also appreciated the way the Republic of Korea appreciates Rwanda's role in the COVID-19 pandemic. The Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies told Ambassador Jinwon that Rwanda will host the 145th Interparliamentary Union General Assembly next year, saying that the Rwandan Parliament will be very pleased to welcome the Speaker of the Korean Parliament among the expected participants. The ambassador said that both parliaments have signed the cooperation agreement, and adherence to the agreement will further improve relations between both countries.
We have to expand those cooperation into another areas with the African free trade area, and we are working on the agreement of avoidance of double taxation.
Moving on, some people living with HIV say that taking medication properly has reduced their viral load to a point they can't infect others. They say that they're also grateful to the government for providing ARVs free of charge, which was a motivation for them to want to live and work to improve their livelihoods. Let's now hear from Jane Mutoni.
A married couple in Gasawo district says that when they got married, one had AIDS and the other did not. They have been together for 3 years. The spouse with AIDS and a young man that says he was born with AIDS both agree that taking ARVs is very important as it reduces viruses in the body. At the prescribed time, that's when I take the medication. I never forget to take it, and I can never take it lightly. And even when I'm traveling, I carry the medicine with me. Every 3 months, I go for checkups, and often they find that the viruses have decreased. I don't suffer from diseases that are unusual, and both my husband and child are not infected. I thank Minisante for making sure that we get medications on time. Because of this, I'm able to do all activities. My body is healthy, and our family has flourished.
I'm a 26-year-old man. I was born with HIV. My journey has not been an easy one, but with the help from the government, I was able to live a healthy life because of taking medications. The virus in my body has reduced, so I encourage others who are infected to take medications properly as well, so that they can live a healthy life, hence being able to improve their livelihoods. I am dedicated to properly taking medications, and I'm not backing down.
The Rwanda Network of People Living with HIV, RRP+, has launched a program to encourage people with HIV to take ARVs so that the viruses in the body can reduce, hence becoming non-infectious. The RRP+ Executive Secretary, Serge Simafara, says that the aim is to help people living with HIV understand that reducing viruses in the blood system is a possible goal. Studies have shown that when a person takes ARVs properly, they can reach a level where the viruses in the blood reduces, whereby when the viral charge is measured in the blood and it is less than 20 in a milliliter of blood, it means that the person has a 100% chance of not infecting another person. This helps a person to feel better about themselves and less isolated in the community. It also helps those who do not have the strength or courage to get tested to do so, because they know they will be taking medications, hence the viruses reduce, and those infected with HIV living a healthy life. Simafara says that in Rwanda, 91% of people who take antiretroviral drugs, the viruses in their body have reduced to less than 200. Dr. Janvier Serumondo from the HIV Prevention Unit at RBC says that taking medication properly is a long-term solution for someone with HIV and the country as a whole.
If you are a good man to your wife and you're both capable of having children, it is possible to live together without one infecting the other and with children that are not infected. The country at large benefits from this as well, as the number of infections reduce as well as the risks of spreading across, hence the 3% of infections in the country reducing.
The Undetectable, Untransmittable program launched by the Joint United Nations Program on HIV/AIDS. Rwanda launched it at the Remera Health Center in Gasabo district with a population of 3,591 people who are taking antiretroviral drugs. Of this, about 98% of them, the viruses in their bodies are said to have decreased. Currently, there are more than 140,000 people living with HIV in RRP Plus network. A 2019 study on HIV/AIDS of RPHIA found that in the city of Kigali, the reduction in the amount of the HIV virus in the blood is 77.4%. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
Staying in the health sector, nurses across the country are pleased with the decision to launch the Associate Nursing Program at 7 schools, saying it will be instrumental in increasing the workforce, ultimately improving service delivery for patients. The Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Health say that the new program will begin with the 2021-2022 school year. Jane Mutoni continues.
A nurse at Remera Health Center in Gasabo district, Marie-Louise Nyirabavakure, says that nurses usually have a lot of work due to the large number of patients they receive. They say that if provided assistance, they would be able to give better services to their patients. For example, if a patient requires a drip, he or she can assist in administering it or help out in setting equipment that we are going to use, and this would help us greatly. The head of the School of Nursing and Midwifery at the University of Rwanda, Dr. Madeleine Mukeshimana, says that those who will be in the Associate Nursing Program will not be working as professional nurses, as they are there to only assist where assigned. There will be associate nurses, not professional nurses, because they only have the basic knowledge in nursing, which means they shall be assisting, helping nurses to do the basics. The Rwanda Nurses and Midwives Union President, Andre Gitimbaraga, says that this program will greatly contribute to this profession, as it usually requires more staff.
These students shall be provided with a scope of practice, enabling them to be capable of assistance. We need more of them in various post centers, and so we hope that this program will provide them all the knowledge that they need to be of help in this profession.
The Executive Secretary of the Human Resources for Health, Dr. Patrick Ndimubanzi, says this is a decision that will also help fill the gaps in the medical staff, and that he trusts that quality education will be provided in this program.
We designed a program that has the right mix of courses for them to be able to perform the duties that we'll be expecting them to perform at the end of the 3 years. And so those who will want to pursue their studies will be able to pursue their studies, but those who will want to work will be able to work with the scope of work that we will define. So they will have a scope of work that will be defined. The associate nurse will be able to work at the health post, at the health center, in district hospital, provincial hospitals, but also in referral hospitals. And for each of those hospitals, they will have a specified scope of work that will be determined.
The Associate Nursing Program is designed for the advanced level in the secondary education, whereby only students who have passed the ordinary level of secondary education will be eligible to join. It will be launched in 7 schools, each with 30 students. The Associate Nursing will be able to continue their nursing and midwifery courses at the university and in other departments of human health or science. The Ministry of Education has announced that students who have completed their 3rd year of high school with excellent grades in biology, chemistry and English can start applying for the program. Jane Mutoni, RTV News.
The European Union has provided aid worth 57 billion Rwanda francs to Rwanda for the development of hotels and tourism-related careers in a project called Ubuchera Rugendo Imbere. Innocent Mugabo reports.
Uwifashije Violet is one of the young people who has come to realize that professionalism and vocational skills are important. After a math and science course, she went on to study modern agriculture for 3 months, and after she joined Gachuriro Vocational Training Center to study culinary as something to help her in the future.
Intego mfite
My purpose for studying this is to use it in the future to develop myself. So this is what I plan to do after school, be it in looking for a job or creating one.
Japan Shaban Gawhida is a professional chef from Malaysia who is now training those who want to become professional chefs like him.
Rwanda is becoming an organic hub. A lot of people are coming all over the world to visit Rwanda. So we have to up our game in order to compete with whatever is happening around the world, okay? So it's a profession that is slowly coming up, but we are getting there. Not a lot of schools do this, but I encourage a lot of schools such as, I won't mention the names, that are trying to put our country on the map. It's a job that requires a lot of patience, dedication, and hard work. So if you believe inside you have this quality, you can always excel in this job.
Rwanda's vision for the development of hotels and tourism is what has led the European Union to support Rwanda with 5.7 billion Rwandan francs in vocational and technical development in a project called Ubukerarugendo Imbere. The funds will support the youth in improving the market-oriented skills in the tourism and hotel sector, not leaving out that 7 TVET schools, which will also be capacitated with production units, and this will improve the school's financial sustainability.
Our country is becoming a center of attraction for tourism, and we are also hosting some international meetings and festivities, and we need to get prepared to be able to give the best service ever for our visitors, our tourists who are coming in Rwanda, to get happy and get satisfied by our service. By doing that, we want also to make sure that we are creating jobs for our youth. So that's why when we develop skills, the required skills in tourism and hospitality sector, we are making sure that our Rwandan youth is going to be employed, they are getting jobs, and they are serving to develop the country's economy.
European Union Ambassador to Rwanda, Nicolas Belamo, says that the European Union has supported Rwanda in the process of achieving tourism after realizing that Rwanda is in the right direction to build an economy based on tourism services. The agreement on cooperation in the development of technical vocational education will last for 4 years.
EU is strongly supporting the ambitious development objectives of Rwanda. And the tourism industry, the hospitality sector, is indeed, a very relevant part of the equation. We're all witnessing, the booming and the success of the Visit Rwanda as even now a recognized brand. So we want really to support the government of Rwanda and the private sector of Rwanda into the human capital dimension. Of course, you can hardly develop an industry without the appropriate skills, without the appropriate human resources.
The Minister of Education, Dr. Valentin Uwamaria, says that the EU's support comes in support of the Rwanda's government's plan to become a tourism hub. This technical and vocational skills development program is expected to increase youth employment, as Rwanda also aims to create 214,000 jobs annually.
When it comes to TVET education, it's better to work with the private sector, so the private sector will also be included in this program, most especially when it comes to the implementation stage, making those from these schools ready for the labor market. Every year, between 40,000 and 45,000 students graduate from technical and vocational training schools. Innocent Mogabo, RTV News.